So we're in the middle of the desert and we're growing over 170 fruit trees. So the question is, how do we keep them safe from the sun? That's up next. Hello everyone, this is Dwayne with Edge of Nowhere Farm, and we're coming to you here in the middle of May in 2022. So you can probably tell the sun is beating down on me here. Typically I'd have a hat on, but I'm doing this to kind of give you guys an idea. We have a tremendous amount of sunlight here in the desert. Now that's not shocking, but I think one of the things that typically is how we're able to take care and grow all of these fruit trees with this sun that beats down on us most of the year. So I don't think it's too much of a surprise that something like a pomegranate that you see behind me here is very, very adapted to this type of environment. In fact, these are really from the Middle East originally, and our temperatures here are almost identical to what you would have in the Middle East. So obviously pomegranates are gonna do really, really well here in full sun without any issue. But how about guavas?
So we're up here at the front of the house and we have 4 guavas up here and they are in full sun. But what about loquats?
Well, we've got 4 loquats right up here at the front of the house in full sun. But hey, Lori, what about citrus?
So we have 17 citrus trees up here at the front of the farm and they are all in full sun. Next up to check is mulberries.
6 different varieties and 18 trees, and you guessed it, mulberries need full sun. So what about stone fruit?
All right, so we have peaches, plums, apricots, you name it, and they need full sun. So what about grapevines?
So 46 different grapevines, wine grapes and table grapes, all of them in full sun. So Lori, what about blackberries? You can't tell me that blackberries are full sun?
Yep, full sun. How about apples?
You guessed it, apples, full sun. So now figs. Figs are not in full sun. There's just no way.
You guys, we have 9 fig varieties in full sun.
So that'll give you an idea of what we have in full sun, and the answer is everything that we grow here. Yep, every single tree and bush that we have here on the farm is in full sun. So there's a few reasons why we're able to do that. So to be fair, let's cover a couple of those. So first thing obviously would be varieties and also rootstocks on your trees. So this would be an Anna apple tree, very good hardy apple for us here in Arizona. You can see it's obviously in full sun and producing abundantly, even with a 1.5-year-old tree. The rootstocks, we get these trees from RSI Growers. We suggest that all the time because he grows his rootstocks here in Arizona, so they're very well suited to our soil. And you'll also find a couple things that we're not growing. One thing you'll definitely notice is a lack of tropical trees. Now, not only are our 20-degree winters a problem for tropical trees, but certain tropical trees definitely need some assistance in the middle of summer. Now, we do have guavas here behind me. However, these, as you can see, do just fine in full sun. So this is about as close to a tropical as we're gonna get because they love the heat and they love the sun. Now, if you guys know us, you know that we are huge fans of wood chips, and it goes without saying that irrigation is critical when it comes to fruit trees in the desert. We have underground irrigation that runs to all of our trees that we installed before any of them were in the ground, and that's critical. So this time of year, we're putting about 60 gallons or so of water on each tree, and it's needed. But they're gonna do their tree version of perspiring where they actually release water out into the air. It's just part of their function. So you need to make sure that they have water, and of course you get this beautiful green like you see behind me here on the contorted mulberry. Back to wood chips. One of the reasons we have wood chips on the ground around all of our trees, bushes, and shrubs is because we're trying to maintain soil moisture. At the same time, we're trying to maintain a certain temperature as well. And what I want to do for you guys, I've got a meat thermometer here, so maybe it's not the official reading as far as temperatures are concerned, but I want to give you guys an idea of the temperature at the top of the wood chips here on what amounts to about an 85 to 90 degree day, and what it looks like underneath about 8 to 10 inches of wood chips. So you can see we're pushing 110 degrees sitting on top of the wood chips here, even on a 90 degree day, just because of the sun beating down on this area here. What I want to show you, I'm going to dig the wood chips back just a little bit. I'm going to use the same thermometer in the same spot. Let's see what the soil temperature looks like underneath the wood chips. So that shows you right there the massive difference that a nice heavy pile of wood chips does for your soil temperatures. Now I was still actually in the wood chips with that probe. If I go down into the soil, it's gonna drop even further. So instead of 110 degrees that this tree's roots are trying to deal with without any mulch, it's down there at 80 degrees. Last time I checked, that's about an ideal temperature for most of us. Question we get asked all the time is, what about potted trees? A big issue there is going to be the type of material the pot is made out of. You can see we have a fig tree here that we don't have a spot for yet as far as a place in the ground, so it's in a plastic nursery pot. Now fig trees do pretty good either way. However, we typically keep this tree or trees like this in mottled sun basically all day. So underneath a tree, in this case, this particular fig is behind this potted apple tree. Speaking of potted apple tree, this tree has been in a concrete pot for the last, almost 4 years. And you can see it's here in full sun, always has been, and it does just fine. Now it does need water all the time during the summertime. We're watering it daily. So you do need to make sure you're keeping an eye on the water and your irrigation for your potted trees. If they're in a plastic pot, they're gonna definitely need some mottled sun. If they're in a concrete pot like this, as you can see, it's doing just fine. In fact, it has fruit on there. So one of the other things when it comes to your trees surviving full sun and thriving in full sun, which is exactly what they need, is new plantings. Our planting season here in Arizona, in the Phoenix area, is fall through early spring. Early spring for us is March. So once you get past that March time frame, you're definitely asking for trouble when it comes to a newly planted tree surviving that first summer. Now you'll see we have a pear tree here that we planted about 2 months ago. We're here in the middle of May, and you can see absolutely no sun protection, and it'll be just fine. One other thing we do is we do paint trunks. That's very important as well, especially when the trees are young and they don't have foliage to protect the trunks. Those trunks will get sunburn and can kill the tree. So until it has a nice full canopy that can shade that trunk, some trunk paint is very important. As you guys probably know, we prefer the Ivy Organics 3-in-1 trunk protectant, and that's what we use on all of our newly planted trees. So key thing there is, make sure you're not planting during the late spring through summer months. So definitely time to get out of the sun for me, but you can see just how important sunshine is to your fruit trees, their growth, and more importantly, the ripening of the fruit. These trees need full sun. They need sunlight in order to grow, in order to produce heavy for you. And if you give them the right environment, maybe you'll have a Shangri-La mulberry like this bad boy right here. Hard to beat. So just want to thank you for joining us today. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. We cover a lot of things here on the channel. Obviously, fruit trees is one of the most important things that we do here on this newly establishing desert farm, but would love to have you as a subscriber and share the content. If you know anybody that's into this kind of thing, it helps us when you share it. Questions or comments, please leave those in the comment section down below. We love interacting with you guys there. And our Amazon shop, I'll leave a link down in the description. That is a free, painless way to help support the channel. If you start with the link down below, it doesn't matter what you buy. You help to support us here. So just want to thank you for joining us today and remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere, so can you.